St. Cecilia's Convent had always been the picture of serenity. Nestled on the outskirts of a small, sleepy town, its white stone walls and carefully tended gardens seemed untouched by time. The townspeople often spoke of the nuns with reverence, seeing them as paragons of virtue and devotion. Visitors remarked on the quiet discipline inside, the rhythm of prayer, work, and contemplation that defined daily life. Nothing in this tranquil setting ever hinted at chaos, scandal, or human frailty. Life inside the convent followed a strict routine. Morning bells would awaken the nuns before dawn, their prayers filling the chapel with a meditative echo. Meals were simple, and work was laborious yet purposeful, tending the gardens, preparing meals for the poor, and maintaining the convent's historic library. Outsiders, including curious townsfolk and occasional journalists, saw only devotion, humility, and pious dedication. But appearances, as they often do, were deceiving. The story begins with a shock that shatters this illusion of order. One morning, during a routine medical checkup arranged by the convent for the nuns, the doctor delivers news that no one can comprehend. Multiple nuns are inexplicably pregnant. The announcement reverberates like thunder through the silent corridors of St. Cecilia's. The headmistress, Mother Agnes, is the first to grapple with the impossible truth. Her face, usually calm and unyielding, betrays a flicker of disbelief and fear. She calls an emergency meeting of the senior nuns, but the meeting is tense and silent, filled more with confusion than solutions. Rumors spread quickly within the convent walls. Whispers echo in corridors and eyes dart nervously during meals. Some nuns seem ashamed, others frightened, while a few act as though nothing is wrong. The tension is palpable, a thick cloud that hangs over every task and every interaction. Outside the convent, the townspeople hear fragments of stories. Curiosity and moral outrage mix in equal measure. Some are scandalized. Others are suspicious, wondering if the convent is hiding something sinister. The local authorities are hesitant to intervene, caught between respect for religious sanctity and the inexplicable nature of the situation. The lack of resolution only deepens the mystery. Meanwhile, the narrative introduces the first hints of personal conflict. Sister Clara, a young nun known for her gentle nature, struggles with fear and guilt, unsure how to reconcile her private experiences with the impossible public reality. Mother Agnes wrestles with her responsibilities as both a leader and protector, understanding that how she handles this crisis could either preserve the sanctity of the convent or destroy it entirely. Small incidents, a locked door, a secret meeting, the disappearance of personal items suggest that something hidden is at play, something beyond mere gossip or accident. Part 1 ends on a note of suspense. The convent, once a sanctuary of peace, has become a place of suspicion, anxiety, and secrets. The stage is set for an outsider, someone unafraid to question what others accept as truth, to arrive and peel back layers of deception. The seemingly quiet life of St. Cecilia's is about to collide with a world of investigation, danger, and revelation. The shocking discovery of the pregnant nuns serves as the first domino in a chain of events that will unravel hidden truths far beyond the convent walls. As the tension inside St. Cecilia's convent grows, a new figure enters the scene: Lydia Harper, a young investigative journalist known for her fearless reporting and curiosity about hidden truths. Lydia is drawn to the convent not merely by rumor, but by a growing unease in the public consciousness. Reports of multiple nuns mysteriously pregnant have stirred gossip, speculation, and moral outrage. For Lydia, this is more than a story. It's a puzzle begging to be solved. She arrives under the guise of writing a feature on monastic life, but her true intent is far more probing: to uncover the truth behind the scandal that no one seems willing or able to explain. From the moment Lydia steps through the convent gates, she senses something is off. The usual signs of convent life, soft footsteps, prayers, and the orderly routine of chores, feel layered with tension. Nuns glance at her out of the corners of their eyes, whispers cease when she enters a room, and doors seem to close more quickly than necessary. Even the headmistress, Mother Agnes, whose composure has remained unshaken in public, offers Lydia a polite but cautious welcome. Beneath her formal demeanor lies an air of guarded suspicion, a subtle warning that not everything is as it seems. Lydia's observations reveal inconsistencies in the nuns' stories and behaviors. Some claim the pregnancies are miracles, others claim ignorance, and a few divert her questions entirely. Daily routines, once predictable, now appear rehearsed or controlled. Lydia notices subtle anomalies. A door that is always locked when no one else is around, the sudden disappearance of a nun's personal items, and unexplained noises echoing through the hallways at odd hours. These small, unsettling details begin to coalesce into a sense that the convent itself is concealing secrets far deeper than anyone admits. Interactions with the nuns provide Lydia with clues and frustration. Sister Clara, previously introduced as gentle and shy, is wary yet hints at knowing more than she says. She avoids direct answers, her eyes darting to the shadows as if someone might overhear. Another nun, Sister Beatrice, behaves unusually defensive, quickly ending conversations and steering Lydia away from certain areas. Even the nuns who appear cooperative inadvertently raise suspicion, revealing knowledge of incidents that shouldn't have been witnessed. Every conversation, every gesture, feels like part of a hidden puzzle Lydia must solve. The sense of unease intensifies when Lydia begins exploring the convent grounds in earnest. The cloisters, gardens, and library that once seemed benign now appear layered with secrets, hidden alcoves, locked cabinets, and mysterious symbols subtly etched into the architecture. Lydia realizes that the convent's serenity is a carefully maintained facade. Something or someone is controlling what is seen and unseen, orchestrating the daily life of the nuns in a way that conceals truths too shocking to imagine. By the end of Part 2, the stage is set for deeper investigation. Lydia's presence disrupts the fragile equilibrium inside St. Cecilia's. She is both a threat and a potential ally to the nuns, depending on their willingness to reveal what they know. Suspense grows as subtle clues, small anomalies, and unspoken fears accumulate, signaling that the mystery extends far beyond the pregnancies themselves. Lydia's determination to uncover the truth promises to lead her into dangerous territory physically, emotionally, and morally. Part 2 closes with Lydia poised on the brink of discovery, a lone outsider who must navigate suspicion, deception, and hidden threats. Her arrival marks the first step in unraveling the labyrinth of secrets that will dominate the rest of the story. As Lydia Harper settles into her investigative role at St. Cecilia's Convent, the sense of unease she first felt deepens into outright suspicion. Subtle oddities that she previously noted, locked doors, strange disappearances, and furtive glances begin to form a pattern. It becomes clear to her that someone inside the convent is hiding something much larger than the simple scandal of the pregnancies. Her journalistic instincts drive her to look for evidence that can substantiate her suspicions. The breakthrough comes unexpectedly. While exploring a rarely used corridor near the convent's chapel, Lydia discovers a small, cleverly concealed camera tucked inside a smoke detector. At first, she cannot believe her eyes. The device is modern and sophisticated, hidden in a way that would have gone unnoticed by anyone without sharp observational skills. She immediately realizes that someone has been watching the nuns and potentially anyone who visits the convent without their knowledge. The camera's presence transforms the mystery from a moral scandal into a more sinister question. Who is orchestrating this and why? Examining the footage, Lydia's initial curiosity turns to shock. The recordings show seemingly innocuous moments of daily life that, at first glance, appear routine. But as she watches more closely, she notices unusual patterns. Certain nuns meet with unidentified visitors at odd hours. Some interactions take place in private rooms that were previously off limits. Items appear and disappear from the rooms without explanation. The pregnancies, once mysterious, now seem to be part of a more deliberate scheme. The footage hints at manipulation, coercion, or even something more experimental, raising alarming ethical and legal questions. Lydia realizes that the hidden camera might be the key to understanding the truth, but it also makes her a potential target. She senses that someone in the convent or connected to it is aware that their secret surveillance exists. Tension escalates when she notices subtle signs that the camera as operator has been monitoring the same footage for signs of intruders. Someone is watching her as closely as she is watching them. The stakes become immediate and personal. The convent is no longer merely a place of mystery. It is a potentially dangerous environment where secrets are guarded with vigilance and perhaps aggression. As she digs deeper, Lydia starts to identify small inconsistencies between the footage and the explanations the nuns have given. Certain visits, once described as innocuous, were far longer and involved private interactions that contradict the official story. Some nuns exhibit behavior on camera that they claim never occurred, revealing either deception or complicity. The footage suggests that the pregnancies may not be accidental, but part of a larger plan, one that could involve manipulation of trust, morality, or even medical intervention. The discovery of the hidden camera marks a turning point in the story. Up until now, the mystery has been internal and insular, a moral puzzle within the convent walls. With the camera, Lydia gains access to objective evidence of clandestine activity, opening the door to questions about power, secrecy, and exploitation. She begins to understand that the scandal is not just about pregnancy, but about control, observation, and the manipulation of innocent lives. By the end of Part 3, Lydia is determined to use the camera footage to uncover the truth, but she also realizes the danger she faces. Every action she takes is being scrutinized, and the convent has suddenly transformed from a serene haven into a place where every corner could hide a threat. The hidden camera sets in motion a chain of events that will lead Lydia deeper into the convent's darkest secrets, where what she discovers may shock not only her but the world outside. With the hidden camera footage in hand, Lydia Harper begins to see patterns that point beyond the present scandal. The pregnancies of the nuns are no longer just mysterious anomalies. They seem connected to a shadowed history buried deep within the convent's walls. Determined to understand the origins of the current crisis, Lydia turns her attention to St. Cecilia's past. Digging through archives, old letters, and medical records stored in the convent's library. What she uncovers shakes her to the core. Decades ago, St. Cecilius was involved in a series of secretive medical studies under the guise of charity and research. Certain nuns were selected for experiments, ostensibly to improve health or fertility, but the records hint at far more invasive and ethically questionable procedures. The older nuns, some of whom still live in the convent, remember the experiments, though many refuse to speak directly, their eyes clouded with fear or guilt. Lydia learns that these studies were never sanctioned by public authorities and were conducted in near-total secrecy. Some records suggest that the convent leadership of the past had close ties with mysterious benefactors, figures who provided funding, equipment, and perhaps directives, but whose true motives remain obscure. Lydia's investigation uncovers chilling details: hidden rooms once used for testing, locked cabinets filled with medical instruments, and cryptic journal entries that hint at attempts to manipulate life itself. There are whispers of rituals and practices that combine religious devotion with scientific experimentation, a dangerous blend that gave certain individuals extraordinary influence over the nuns' lives. These historical secrets begin to explain some of the present-day events. The pregnancies, once considered impossible, might not be accidents, they could be the continuation of schemes set in motion decades ago. The nuns' behavior makes more sense in this context. Their evasiveness, fear, and sudden secrecy are not merely reactions to social scandal, they are conditioned responses to a long history of control and manipulation. Some nuns, particularly the older ones, carry trauma from past abuses, while younger nuns are kept in the dark, unaware of the deeper machinations surrounding them. Lydia starts to realize that the convent functions as a self-contained world where truth is tightly controlled, and the facade of holiness serves both protection and deception. Lydia's discoveries also reveal tensions between morality and survival. Some nuns, forced into complicity decades ago, continue to enforce secrecy out of fear or loyalty, while others subtly resist, hinting at cracks in the convent's carefully maintained order. The past and present are intertwined. Patterns from the old experiments seem to echo in the current pregnancies, suggesting that the same shadowy influence persists even now. The convent is not merely a spiritual haven. It is a place where human lives, morality, and innocence have been manipulated for hidden purposes. By the end of Part 4, Lydia fully understands that the mystery of the pregnant nuns is deeply rooted in historical conspiracies and abuse of power. The convent's serene exterior conceals a legacy of secrecy and manipulation that stretches across generations. The story shifts from a question of scandal to one of uncovering systemic control, showing that the present events are only the latest manifestation of a much larger, hidden truth. With this knowledge, Lydia prepares to confront not only the current conspirators but also the legacy of deceit that has defined St. Cecilia's for decades. With the convent's dark past coming into focus, Lydia Harper begins to see that the mystery of the pregnant nuns is not just a relic of history, it is a carefully maintained, ongoing deception. The evidence from the hidden camera combined with documents and interviews with hesitant nuns paints a chilling picture. The pregnancies are not random or accidental, but part of a systematic scheme orchestrated by a shadowy figure with motives hidden from public view. What initially seemed like a scandalous anomaly now reveals itself as an intricate web of manipulation, control, and exploitation. Lydia starts connecting the dots. Visitors captured on camera, previously dismissed as benign, now appear to have specific roles in the scheme. Some bring medical supplies, others facilitate discreet meetings with nuns, and a few are caught whispering instructions or observing behaviors. Every action seems deliberate, calculated to maintain secrecy and control. The convent is more than a religious sanctuary, it is a controlled environment where certain individuals orchestrate events behind the scenes, ensuring that the truth remains obscured. The nuns, many unaware of the full scope, are unwitting participants in this elaborate plot. As Lydia digs deeper, she begins to uncover conflicting loyalties among the nuns. Some are complicit, whether out of fear, gratitude, or coercion, while others are hesitant or actively resisting, their actions subtly undermining the scheme. Sister Clara, who previously hinted at knowledge she could not fully reveal, starts sharing fragmented truths with Lydia. She describes late-night meetings with unknown visitors, unexplained medical procedures, and pressure from authority figures that defies religious or moral reasoning. Each revelation adds another layer to the complexity of the web, making it clear that deception has permeated every corner of convent life. The stakes rise as Lydia realizes the broader implications. The pregnancies are not merely a moral or religious scandal, they are evidence of manipulation that may involve legal, medical, and ethical violations. There are hints that the orchestrators exploit faith, trust, and innocence to maintain control, suggesting a network that could extend beyond the convent walls. Lydia's presence threatens to expose the scheme, making her a target as much as an observer. Small signs of surveillance, attempts to intimidate her, and veiled warnings confirm that someone is watching her every move. Yet, the web of deception is not without cracks. Some nuns begin to confide in Lydia, providing insights that reveal internal conflicts, hidden alliances, and personal motivations. These moments of vulnerability illuminate the human cost of the scheme: fear, guilt, shame, and powerlessness that span generations. The pregnancies, while shocking, are symptoms of a deeper, systemic manipulation that has controlled lives, faith, and even the body of the convent itself. By the end of Part 5, Lydia understands that exposing the conspiracy will require careful strategy. The shadowy figure behind it, likely someone deeply embedded within the convent or closely connected to its history, has maintained a delicate balance of fear, loyalty, and secrecy. Lydia must navigate this web with precision, discerning friend from foe, and uncovering the hidden motivations that have perpetuated the scheme. The stage is set for a dangerous confrontation, one that will reveal the full extent of the deception and test Lydia's courage, ethics, and determination. The story now moves from uncovering hidden truths to confronting the human and moral complexities of the conspiracy, setting the tone for the dramatic revelations and dangers that will follow in the next part. As Lydia Harper delves deeper into the hidden machinations of St. Cecilia's convent, the danger surrounding her investigation becomes immediate and tangible. The shadowy figure orchestrating the pregnancies and maintaining the web of deception is no longer a distant threat. It begins to actively respond to her probing. Lydia senses she is being watched at all times. Subtle signs emerge that someone is tracking her movements, manipulating the environment, and even attempting to intimidate her into silence. The convent, once perceived as a tranquil sanctuary, now feels like a labyrinth of hidden traps where every hallway, every locked door, and every whispered conversation could signal danger. The first direct encounter occurs late one night. Lydia, reviewing hidden camera footage in the convent's library, hears footsteps approaching. The sound is deliberate, measured, and impossible to ignore. She hides just in time as a figure, cloaked in darkness, enters the room and begins searching the shelves. Though the intruder leaves without confronting her, the event underscores a critical truth. Her investigation has been detected. This moment amplifies the stakes, forcing Lydia to recognize that uncovering the truth will require not only intellectual courage but physical vigilance. Using a combination of stealth, intuition, and her investigative skills, Lydia pieces together the next layer of the conspiracy. She discovers that the pregnancies are not merely coincidental or random. They are carefully orchestrated, with certain nuns targeted based on a long-term plan extending from the convent's secretive past. Medical records, hidden cameras, and personal testimonies converge to reveal a horrifying reality. The shadowy mastermind has manipulated not only the nuns' bodies but also their trust and faith. The manipulations are sophisticated, involving coercion, selective knowledge, and psychological influence, making it nearly impossible for the nuns to act freely or seek help. The tension escalates when Lydia uncovers the identity of the central orchestrator. This figure, someone who outwardly embodies authority, morality, and sanctity, has maintained a facade of respectability while controlling the convent's secrets with precision. The mastermind's motives, partially financial, partially driven by ego and a desire for influence, are revealed as chillingly pragmatic. The pregnancies are both a tool of control and a demonstration of power. Every event, every whispered rumor, and every hidden camera has been carefully placed to maintain the illusion of innocence while concealing a network of exploitation. Despite the danger, Lydia persists. She begins gathering tangible evidence footage, documents, and testimonies while simultaneously forming tentative alliances with some nuns who are willing to confront their fears and reveal the truth. These nuns, traumatized yet resolute, become essential to Lydia's mission. They provide insight into the internal dynamics of the convent, describe the coercive techniques used by the mastermind, and offer clues that point toward the final confrontation. By the end of Part 6, Lydia fully grasps the magnitude of what she faces. The convent is no longer merely a setting for mystery. It has become a battleground where morality, faith, and courage collide with manipulation, secrecy, and power. The danger is imminent, the stakes are high, and the revelations she uncovers threaten to expose both past and present atrocities. Lydia's determination to bring the truth to light sets the stage for a dramatic showdown, one that will test her intellect, resilience, and ethical convictions to their limits. Part 6 concludes with an electrifying sense of suspense. Lydia knows she is on the brink of uncovering the full scope of the conspiracy, but she also realizes that doing so could place her in mortal danger. The story now pivots from discovery to confrontation, preparing for the explosive revelations. With the hidden truths laid bare, Lydia Harper moves toward the story's most dangerous and dramatic phase, confronting the mastermind behind the pregnancies at St. Cecilia's Convent. The tension that has been building throughout her investigation now reaches a fever pitch, as every step, every decision, could have severe consequences for herself, the nuns, and the broader revelation of the conspiracy. Armed with hidden camera footage, historical records, and testimonies from several nuns who have finally dared to speak, Lydia prepares to expose the truth, but the confrontation will not be straightforward. The mastermind, cloaked in authority and outward respectability, is aware of Lydia's presence and her investigative efforts. Their awareness becomes evident in subtle ways: unexplained changes in the convent's routine, whispered warnings from cautious nuns, and direct attempts to intimidate Lydia. Yet the mastermind underestimates Lydia's persistence and ingenuity. She has already built a network of allies among the nuns, who provide critical support by confirming details, revealing hidden passages, and offering moral courage to act against the oppressive control that has governed the convent for decades. The confrontation occurs in a secluded part of the convent, an area long used for private meetings and hidden exchanges. Lydia, cautiously entering the room, is met by the figure who has orchestrated so much manipulation and secrecy. The room itself mirrors the duality of the convent, outwardly serene and dignified, but inwardly charged with tension, secrets, and moral corruption. The mastermind attempts to maintain composure, presenting a facade of innocence while subtly trying to manipulate Lydia into leaving or doubting her evidence. This battle of wits and moral conviction becomes the core of the confrontation. Through a mixture of logical reasoning, moral appeal, and irrefutable evidence, Lydia forces the mastermind to confront the reality of their actions. The nuns, previously silenced by fear, are encouraged to speak, and their voices add weight and emotion to the confrontation. Confessions, partial admissions, and defensive maneuvers reveal layers of deceit and manipulation. Lydia's strategy is precise. She presents the undeniable footage from the hidden cameras, connects it to the historical abuses, and lays bare the orchestrated nature of the pregnancies. Each revelation chips away at the mastermind's carefully constructed facade. The confrontation also exposes hidden alliances and complicity within the convent. Some nuns, previously thought innocent, are revealed as intermediaries who facilitated aspects of the scheme, whether knowingly or under coercion. This revelation heightens the moral complexity of the story, emphasizing that the conspiracy was not a single act, but a network of control, fear, and manipulation that spanned generations. Ultimately, the confrontation reaches a turning point when the mastermind can no longer deny responsibility. Under pressure, they admit to manipulating events for power, influence, and personal gain, revealing shocking details that confirm Lydia's suspicions. The emotional and moral stakes are immense. Lives, faith, and the sanctity of the convent are at risk. Yet the truth cannot be hidden any longer. Part 7 ends with the immediate crisis resolved. The mastermind's control begins to unravel. The nuns reclaim their voices, and Lydia secures the evidence that will reveal the full scope of the conspiracy. The story is now poised for its final resolution, focusing on the aftermath, reflection, and the ways in which the convent and the world outside responds to the revelations in Part 8. After the tense and dramatic confrontation in which Lydia Harper exposed the mastermind behind the pregnancies, St. Cecilia's convent faces a new reality. The shockwaves of the revelations ripple through every aspect of the convent's life, and the once serene sanctuary becomes a place of reckoning, reflection, and transformation. The nuns, previously trapped in fear, secrecy, and manipulation, are now confronted with the opportunity to reclaim agency over their own lives, bodies, and faith. The immediate aftermath is chaotic but necessary. Some nuns choose to leave the convent entirely, stepping into a world they have long been isolated from. For them, the revelations are both liberating and terrifying. They must navigate a life shaped by trauma, secrecy, and exploitation. Others remain, committed to restoring the sanctity and integrity of St. Cecilia's. Within the walls of the convent, new leadership emerges, nuns who are not complicit in the conspiracy, but who have the moral clarity and courage to rebuild the institution on principles of transparency, care, and accountability. Lydia's role in the aftermath is pivotal. She publishes a detailed expose combining the hidden camera footage, historical records, and first-hand testimonies of the nuns. The story captures national attention, sparking public outrage, legal investigations, and broader discussions about faith, secrecy, and abuse of power within religious institutions. Lydia's reporting is praised for its bravery and thoroughness, but she also experiences the personal weight of having witnessed such profound human suffering. The investigation leaves her reflective, morally shaken, and acutely aware of the complexities of human nature, the ways fear, loyalty, and control can distort morality and faith. Within the convent, healing begins in subtle ways. The nuns who choose to stay begin rebuilding trust, creating new routines that emphasize openness, accountability, and mutual support. Counseling sessions, spiritual guidance, and community work become focal points, not only as acts of service but as forms of emotional and psychological restoration. The pregnancies, while tragic and manipulated, are treated with care and compassion, acknowledging both the physical and emotional impact on the women involved. Gradually, the convent transforms from a place of fear into a sanctuary of resilience and rebirth. The story also reflects on the broader societal implications. Lydia's revelations force the public to grapple with the duality of institutions that appear benevolent yet conceal systemic wrongdoing. The narrative challenges readers to consider how appearances can mask manipulation and how courage, curiosity, and moral conviction are necessary to uncover hidden truths. It emphasizes that accountability is possible, but only when individuals are willing to confront uncomfortable realities and take principled action. By the end of Part 8, the convent and its residents are fundamentally changed. The shadows of the past still linger, but they no longer dominate daily life. The nuns, once silent victims, find their voices and reclaim their agency. Lydia departs, leaving behind a community in the early stages of recovery and renewal, her mission accomplished, but her perspective forever altered. The story closes on a contemplative note, highlighting resilience, the pursuit of truth, and the transformative power of confronting deception and injustice head-on. The conclusion emphasizes that even in the darkest places, truth and courage can prevail, and that the process of healing, though difficult, is possible when secrets are brought into the light and accountability is embraced. The convent, once a symbol of hidden manipulation, becomes a story of recovery, moral reflection, and hope.